we'll have a small class only. 1 o'clock we'll wind up. We'll not continue further. So, as Maharaj already gave complete overview of the first canto in one sense, starting from the beginning, where the sages of Naimisharanya assembled in Naimisharanya for the welfare of the entire universe. Suta Goswami is speaking to them, and he spoke elaborately about the compassionate nature of all the ladies in the Bhagavatam, Draupadi, Kunti Maharani, and others, Subhadra and Uttara, etc. Yeah, all. And also the misunderstanding of the personality of Bhishma. That also Maharaj spoke very elaborately.
He said something about little Karna also, and then Ashwasthama and everything.
Yeah, all other personalities also. So, if you remember, in the 4th chapter, the sages of Naimisharanya, headed by Shaunaka Rishi, they requested Suta Goswami to speak about what was the discussion between Pariksith Maharaj and Sukadeva Goswami. So please speak the entire Bhagavatam, not as spoken by Sukadeva Goswami. That was the first question. Then they ask about, please speak about the birth of Parikshit Maharaj, activities of Parikshit Maharaj, and renunciation of Parikshit Maharaj, and the death of Parikshit Maharaj. 4 questions. Out of the 4, the first question was answered from chapter 7 all the way up to 12. There was one more question in between. Who inspired Vyasdev to compile this Bhagavatam? Where, when, and why he wrote the Bhagavatam? That was answered in chapter 4, 5, 6, little bit in 7. First 10 verses in the 7th chapter. So then his birth was explained starting from 7th chapter all the way up to 12th chapter. Then for him to perform activities, he need to become the king. For him to become the king, the current kings supposed to retire and he has to grow. So immediately after the battle of Kurukshetra war, Yudhishthira Maharaj became the king. In due course of time, Parikshit Maharaj was born, and Pandavas ruled for 35 years. And in the previous chapters, we saw that Lord Krishna departed, hearing that Vidura, who was traveling, he went to Prabhas. There he heard about the departure of the Yadavas and Lord Krishna. Immediately went to Vrindavan. There he met Uddhava. He heard from Uddhava. He wanted to hear more from Uddhava, but Uddhava told that I have a mission to go to Badrikashram. You please go to Maitreya Rishi. He went to Maitreya. He heard from Maitreya for a few days. They returned to Hastinapur. He inspired Dhritarashtra to take to Vanaprastha order. Along with Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, Vidura, 3 of them, without telling anyone, they went to Himalayas. So there was a discussion about how Dhritarashtra attained perfection, taking shelter of yoga process. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj was feeling so much pain that without informing me, my elderly aged parents have been to forest. So who will take care of them? Like that he was worried. Narada Muni comes and tells that Lord will take care of them, don't worry. They have gone to Himalayas. So then Narada Muni says that if you want to go bring them, don't go. In 5 days, he is going to leave the body. Then what will happen to the chaste Gandhari? He said that don't worry. When Dhritarashtra creates fire to burn himself, Gandhari will enter into that fire. No, nothing will happen. No, you can't bring her back. So understand the mission of the Lord, follow his instructions, and continue the king. Immediately sends Arjuna to Dwarka. By the time Arjuna went there, everything is already gone. So Arjuna oversees the final rites. Then he was returning. So many things happened. We discussed in the last class that he was defeated by the infidel cowherd boys. He comes and informs Yudhishthira Maharaj, my lord had cheated me. He had gone. He had taken away my power also, which ashram the devatas, etc. And he remembers what our Lord helped them in their life. Then Arjuna, remembering the teachings of Lord Krishna, known as Bhagavad Gita, he kind of composed. Yudhishthira Maharaj, understanding what had happened, he said, it is because of the Lord's instruction I have become the king. Now Lord himself is not there. Why should I continue the king? So making Parikshit Maharaj the next king, he was moving towards Himalayas. Understanding what Yudhishthira Maharaj is doing, the remaining 4 Pandavas and Draupadi also followed after Yudhishthira Maharaj. So eventually, they have gone to spiritual world. As Mahabharata says, they have gone to spiritual world via Swarga. So that is also we can include. So now Parikshit Maharaj had become the king. Now we'll discuss his activities. The activities of Parikshit
Hare
Maharaj are
Krishna Prabhuji.
next two chapters.
Pranam.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Ah.
Prabhuji, will you share the recording of today's Maharaj class? Because yeah, I was not there, na? I couldn't hear. So because it is so beautiful class you are telling, so I will also like to hear.
Okay, no issue, will share. It is already recorded in the YouTube live.
Okay.
It will be there in the YouTube only. Yeah.
So many groups are being there.
Yeah.
Okay.
She is not in India. She is not here. She is in Africa.
It's on
Yes,
YouTube, Mataji.
Prabhuji.
It is on ISKCON Chopati Media YouTube.
Someone can share the link, no issues.
Yes.
Okay.
So now,
Yeah, if you will share the link, it will be good. Thank you.
so in the 16th chapter, we will
Hare
see
Krishna.
the victory tour of Parikshit Maharaj, the questions by Dharma unto Mother Earth, and Mother Earth responds to the inquiries made by Dharma, expressing her lamentation out of separation from Lord Krishna. These are the few important things. And the discussion continues in the next chapter also. In these two chapters, there is a nice, wonderful philosophical discussion between Dharma and Prithvi. That we will see. So this is a brief outline of the entire chapter. We have 36 verses. In the first 4 verses, there is a quick summary of all the different activities of Parikshit Maharaj by Suta Goswami. Then the sages inquire. So one of the activities that Parikshit Maharaj did is he punished Kali. Sages starts inquiring, why did he punish Kali only? Why did not kill Kali? Kali is such a nasty person, he should be killed. Why he did not kill? So in order to answer that, why he did not kill Kali, the 2 chapters are spoken. Why he only punished but not killed Kali, the 2 chapters are presented. So when, where, how he saw Kali, that is the entire subject matter for this chapter. So as Parikshit Maharaj is wandering on his world conquest, he happened to see Kali as a king, punishing Dharma as a bull and Prithvi as a cow. So that's how the scene comes and unfolds. There, the cow and bull were discussing among themselves. Then, while they were being punished by Kali, they are discussing with each other. In the meantime, Parikshit Maharaj comes there and he inquires from Dharma and cow, who is the reason for your situation. Like so many things will be unfolded in the next chapter. We will see. Having told about how Parikshit Maharaj's birth in the previous 3 chapters, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 5 chapters, before telling about how Kali was punished by Parikshit Maharaj, first the coronation will be described. For the Parikshit Maharaj to perform activities should become king. For him to become king, the previous kings need to be retired. That is being indicated. So, but to describe the coronation, first the arrival of Vidura and the departure of Dhritarashtra and the instructions of Vidura. That was present in chapter 13. Arrival of Arjuna from Dwarka in chapter 14. And the departure of the Pandavas in chapter 15. These are all described in next 3 chapters. And now, Parikshit Maharaj's activities are described in the next 2 chapters, chapter 16 and 17. So, now Suta Goswami is continuing. Suta Uvacha Tata Parikshit Vijavarya Shikshaya Mahim Mahabhagavata Shashashaha Yata hi Sutyam Abhijata Kovida Samadishan Vipramahat Gunastata. Little louder.
Suta Goswami said, O learned Brahmanas, Maharaj Parikshit then began to rule over the world as a great devotee of the Lord. Under the instructions of the best of the 5 known Brahmanas, he ruled by those great qualities which were foretold by expert astrologers at the time of his birth.
Yeah. Suta Goswami is saying here, O Brahmanas, So many sages are sitting in that assembly. Just as those who knew about his birth had described him, the Parikshit, the great devotee, possessing qualities of a great person, ruled the entire earth under the guidance of the best Brahmanas, which was mentioned during the birth of Parikshit Maharaj. Immediately after the birth, Yudhishthira Maharaj performed Jatakarma ceremony, during which all the Brahmanas invited. Some Brahmanas chanted Vedic mantras, some Brahmanas performed yajna, and some Brahmanas who are expert astrology, they read the birth chart of Parikshit Maharaj and they predicted what he will do in the future. One of the activity they predicted was he will punish Kali, and one of the activity that he will rule like his Pitamaha, like the Yudhishthira Maharaj or like Lord Brahma. He will be compassionate, charitable like Lord Ram and other personalities. Like so many qualities are mentioned about Parikshit Maharaj. So whatever was predicted that time, everything is come into action now. So in summary, is telling. So the question, whatever was predicted previously, now everything is into action by Parikshit Maharaj. He who possesses qualities of a great person ruled over the entire earth. So taking this as a clue, Srila Prabhupada writes about the necessary qualities of a leader or a ruler who is supposed to govern all the citizens. So the entire details are mentioned. Couple of points, very interesting. Prabhupada says that this is from the third line of the purport. The real qualification is to become a devotee of the Lord, and gradually all good qualities worthy of possession develops. Maharaj Parikshit was a Mahabhagavata or a first class devotee who was not only well versed in the science of devotion but also able to convert others to become devotees by his transcendental instructions. Maharaj Parikshit was therefore a devotee of the first order, and thus he used to consult great sages and Lord Brahmanas who could advise him by the Shastras how to execute the state administration. Such great kings were more responsible than modern elected executive heads because they obliged the great authorities by following their instructions left in Vedic literatures. The king is supposed to be well versed in Shastra, and the king is supposed to be guided by the Brahmanas who are well versed in Shastra. So here Parikshit Maharaj had, what was his name? Krupacharya and Daumya as his teachers who guided him very nicely. So he could rule very nicely. So that was indicated here. So later on, in the italic letters, Prabhupada writes, the state would get the best advice without expenditure. Because these Brahmanas are not paid Brahmanas. The Brahmanas would give guidance free of cost. Because they don't have anything to expect in return. So in that way, of course, in between Prabhupada writes about the Brahmanas, they were themselves Samadarshi, equal to everyone, both man and animal. So basically, Prabhupada says that if the advisors are self-motivated, they cannot give good advice. The advisors are also supposed to be selfless. Then only they can give good advice. So in that way, Prabhupada talks about the advices given by Brahmanas like Krupacharya and Daumya, etc. So then, this is like his rule. How did he rule? Next, other activities of Parikshit Maharaj. Sa uttarasya tanayam upayeme iravatim janamedaya dims chaturas tasyam utpadaya sutam ajaharashvamedam strin gangayamburi dakshinan sharadvatam gurum krutva deva yetrakshi gochara.
Parikshit married the daughter of the king Siddhara, who got the four sons, headed by the Maharaja Janmejaya. Maharaja Parikshit, after having selected the
Little louder, Mataji.
Parikshit, after having selected the Kripacharya for the guidance as his spiritual master, performed 3 horse sacrifices on the bank of the Ganga. These were executed with the sufficient rewards or the attendant, and at this sacrifice, even the common man could see the demigods.
So then other activities in his life is he married Iravati, who is the daughter of King Uttara. In Mahabharat, Udyoga Parva, not Udyoga Parva. What was that? Virata Parva. So we hear about both Uttara and Uttara Kumara. Uttara was the daughter of Virat king. Uttara Kumara was the son. So Uttara Kumara who kind of assisted Arjuna in driving the chariot in that Gosha Parva, defeating all the Kauravas. And Uttara Kumara died in the first day of the battle, very first day. Shalya kills him. So he had a daughter. Her name is Iravati. So Iravati married Parikshit Maharaj, who is the son of Uttara and Abmani. So in that way. So Prabhupada writes in this purport about the cousins can get married if they have different gotra. Generally, cousins don't get married, but if they have different gotra, they can marry. It's like that. Yeah, south. South mean anyway their gotra is different. They marry. Not same gotra. If gotra is separate, they'll marry. Same gotra, no one should marry. And after their marriage, they gave birth to 4 sons, headed by Janamejaya. Janamejaya is the eldest son. About Janamejaya, there is a description in the 12th canto. In the 12th canto, even when Janamejaya was a small child, that time only Parikshit dies. When Parikshit Maharaj was cursed to die in 7 days, Janamejaya was a small kid. He was sent to Gurukul. He gives the entire responsibility to take care of the kingdom to Krupacharya, and Parikshit Maharaj kind of retires. Of course, he made Janamejaya the king, but he's still a small child only going through studies. So Janamejaya came back from studies. He spent some time happily. Then he heard from one sage, I think Utanka. He had some tug of war with the Takshaka. So he comes and tells, without any fault of your father, Takshaka came and killed him. This Takshaka is too envious. For no reason he killed your father unnecessarily. For a small mistake. Even Kashyapa came, not the same Kashyapa of the Sargaloka, but another Kashyapa Brahmana. He told he was coming to revive your father, but he kind of bribed him and sent him away and came and killed your father for no reason, out of his personal envy, something like that. You should do something to him. Then Janamejaya performed the fire sacrifice, not fire sacrifice, Sarpa Yajna, in order to invite all the snakes to kill Takshaka actually. So that pastime is mentioned in the Mahabharata Adiparva very nicely, elaborately. So Janamejaya is also one of the wonderful king after Parikshit Maharaj. Accepting Krupacharya as his guru and giving profuse donations, Parikshit Maharaj performed 3 horse sacrifices on the bank of Ganga, in which the devatas became visible. Just like Yudhishthira Maharaj performed 3 Ashwamedha Yajnas after the battle of Kurukshetra, following in his footsteps, later on, Parikshit Maharaj also performed 3 Ashwamedha Yajnas, so that the entire kingdom can become prosperous on the bank of Ganga. And during those 3 Ashwamedha sacrifices, the devatas came in person to accept the final oblations. So Prabhupada talks about that. Parikshit Maharaj is a great king. Because of his greatness, the devatas personally came there to be part of the sacrifice, and the people in the country could see the devatas. That is the advantage of having a great king. Something like that. So later on, Bhagavatam 4th canto, it also mentioned that when Prithu Maharaj was performing Yajna, Indra coming and stealing the horse. Eventually Brahma came, Lord Vishnu came. Later on the 4 Kumaras came. That time it is mentioned that the 4 Kumaras are ordinarily not seen by anybody, not seen by common people in general. Because Prithu Maharaj is so wonderful king, the 4 Kumaras are seen by and heard by all the citizens of the country. So something like that. So same way here, it is like that. So Prabhupada writes that is the advantage of a great king. Even the devatas, which are not generally seen by people in general, becomes qualified to see the devatas because of having a qualified king. And that qualified king, who is known as Parikshit Maharaj, is a Mahabhagavata, accepted Sharadvata. Sharadvata means son of Sharadvan. Sharadvan Rishi gave birth to Krupacharya and Kripi. So accepted him as a guru. If the personality like Parikshit Maharaj want to suppose is having a guru, then what to speak of the modern kings? They obviously need to have a guru. So like the Prabhupada writes. So the leader must have a guru so that they can rule properly. Parikshit Maharaj, a great Mahabhagavad devotee who himself is having a guru, how to rule and all. So nowadays the king should also have the guide, proper guide like that Prabhupada says. Then Sutta Goswami further continues. Nihagrahauja Savira Kalim Digvijaye Kvachit Drupalingadaram Shudram Gnantam Gomitunam Pada. Please read. In a class, keep it later. I'm in a class, keep it later.
Once Maharaj Parikshit was on his way to conquer world, he saw the master of Kali, who was lower than a Sudra, disguised as a king and hurting the legs of a cow and a bull. The king at once caught hold of him till sufficient punishment.
Yeah, this is about how Parikshit Maharaj punished Kali. From that point of view, this verse is spoken. So here it says, one time, when we will see later on, while touring his kingdom, the hero valiantly punished Kali, a Shudra dressed as a king, who was kicking a cow and bull. Go Mitunam Pada Grantham. With his feet, he was kicking the cow and bull. King Parikshit punishes Kali by the request of Uddhava. So, I think most of you have received the book. I don't know whether some of you have read the first chapter or not. So, in the first chapter, there is a complete explanation about when and where and how and why Parikshit Maharaj punishes Kali. Every detail is there. In one of the previous class also we discussed when Arjuna was bringing the queens back to Hastinapur, Krishna comes as the cowherd boys, defeats Arjuna, takes them, keeps them under the care of Vajranab. And Arjuna comes home and informs Yudhishthira everything what had happened. Yudhishthira Maharaj leaves for the north. Pandavas leave. After becoming the king, immediately Parikshit Maharaj goes to Dwarka to see what all happened. By the time he went to Dwarka, there was nothing. Then he went to Madura. That is where now Vajranab is residing. That is where the queens are there. So, but the queens are going through intense pain. So, both Vajranab and Parikshit Maharaj request them, what we can do so that you can be freed from your pain. They say that take us to Vrindavan. Because we have heard from Uddhava for long about Lord Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. We want to see all the pastime places. So they go to Vrindavan. On the way they see Yamuna flowing very happily. So they become a little bit annoyed. So you are also one of the wife of Krishna like us. How can you be so happy? Then Kalindi says that no, it is not like that. As long as we are thinking about Krishna, we are always with Krishna. So if we are with Krishna, what is the pain of separation? So all of you used to hear from Uddhava. Please go to Kusum Sarovar. There Uddhava is there in the form of Gulmalata. Request him to speak Krishna Katha. Then you will be relieved of your pain. Then all the queens go to Kusum Sarovar. There they request Uddhava to appear and remove their pain of separation from Lord Krishna. Uddhava comes, takes them across Govardhan, the modern day place we say Uddhav Baitak. That is where he made all the queens sit there. There he spoke Bhagavatam for 1 month. Whatever Uddhava heard from the gopis for 2 months, now he repeats everything in 1 month. So, but before beginning the discussion, Uddhava calls Parikshit Maharaj. My dear king, please come. So, Kali, since Lord Krishna departed, Kali made his entry. He is troubling the entire world. Please go and stop Kali from disturbing the entire world. Then Parikshit Maharaj said that I also want to hear. How will I get this rare opportunity? Then Uddhava says, don't worry, when the right time comes, Sukadeva Goswami will come and speak to you the entire Bhagavatam. For now, you as the responsible king go and stop Kali from disturbing the entire world. Then Parikshit Maharaj goes on to find out where Kali is. And eventually finds Kali in Kurukshetra, like it will be explained in the upcoming chapters. And he punishes Kali appropriately. So it's like that. So by the end of the 1 month, at the conclusion of that Bhagavata discourse by Uddhava, Lord Krishna personally manifests and accepts all the queens into Aprakata, transforming them into gopis. And Lord Krishna performs all the pastimes that Uddhava spoke to the queens, with the queens who transform now as gopis, in front of Uddhava and also Vajranabh. Both Uddhava and Vajranabh, only two audience. Lord Krishna with 60,100 wives who are now transformed into gopis. They perform all the pastimes of Raja. In order to keep the memories of those pastimes, later on Vajranabh installs all the deities that we see now. Radha Govindji, Radha Gopinath, Radha Madhav, all these deities that we see in, not in Vrindavan today, but in Jaipur and other places, they were all installed by Vajranabh. After hearing from Uddhava for 1 month and after witnessing directly the pastimes manifesting in front of him by Krishna and the twins. So that was the whole condition.
Vajranabh also attained Vajra Vrindavan.
What?
Vajranabh, when he left this world, so he went to Vrindavan.
That I don't know where he went. I don't know that. Queens went back. Vajranabh, he had to stay back. Na? Just now he has become king. He has to rule.
After his completion of this role.
It's up to him. He might have gone to Dwaraka only. Why he would go to Vrindavan? He's a Dwaraka Vasana.
He was king of Mathura, no, Prabhuji?
Yeah, because Dwaraka is already submerged into the ocean, so there is no more Dwaraka afterwards. So he whatever Dwaraka was left, they all shifted to Madura and they continue to stay in Madura afterwards. So, any questions? Any other questions?
How is servant?
Who?
Bhajan.
He did not go for the Prabhas Kshetra. He remained at home only. He was a small kid na that time. He was like great grandson of Krishna. Krishna's son was Pradyumna. Pradyumna's son was Anuruddha. Anuruddha's son was Vajranabh. He was like small boy, maybe youth. So he was not taken to Prabhas. Even many of them did not go. Many elderly people did not go. Devaki, Vasudeva, Ugrasena, all the other elderly people also did not go to Prabhas. Only the youthful men, the young men, they all went to Prabhas. Especially those people who descended from Sarga to assist the pastimes of Supreme Lord. They need to be sent back to heaven. Only they went mainly. They fought among themselves and they went to Sarga. It's like that.
Bhajana with the son of Aniruddha and Usha.
Anuruddha and? Ah, yes. Usha. Any question from the devotees online? Able to follow?
Yes, no questions.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Those who have taken the book, please read the first chapter today for more details.
Sure.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So, having heard this, Parikshit Maharaj only punished Kali, even though Kali was beating, punishing, and kicking the cow and bull. So the sages ask question. So then answer to that question, the entire discussion goes on further. Shaunaka uvacha kasetor nijagraha kalim jigvijnapa nudeva chinnadruk sudrako koaso gamya padana tatkatayam mahabhaga yadi krishna katashrayam.
Saunaka Rishi inquired, why did Maharaj Parikshit simply punish him? Since he was the lowest of the Sudras, having dressed as a king and having struck a cow with his neck. Please describe all these incidents if they relate to the topics of Lord Krishna.
So in the previous part, before continuing the discussion now, in the last paragraph, Prabhupada writes one interesting information about Kali. The age of Kali means mismanagement and quarrel. And the root cause of all mismanagement and quarrel is that worthless men with the modes of lower class men who have no higher ambition in life comes to the helm of the state management. Such men at the post of a king are sure to first herd the cow and the Brahminical culture, thereby pushing all society towards hell. Maharaj Parikshit, trained as he was, got the scent of this root cause of all quarrel in the world. Thus he wanted to stop it in the very beginning. So otherwise the people, king rulers in Kali Yuga, so they first attack cows and the Brahmanas who are following the Sanatana Dharma. So in that way Prabhupada writes. So here, in this verse, Prabhupada, here Sutta Goswami says that, why did the king, while touring, punish Kali but not kill him? The Shaunaka Rishis are asking. The person dressed as a king who was kicking the cow was a very low Shudra. Kali was supposed to be a Shudra, but dressing like a king and punishing cow, the innocent cow and bull. So, oh great soul, please tell us if it concerns Lord Krishna. If this activity of Parikshit Maharaj is in relation to Krishna Katha, please speak about this in detail. So like that, the sages of Naimisharanya are inquiring. Why did he punish him but not kill? The low Shudra deserve to be killed. Since he is troubling cow and bull, he is supposed to be killed. So how could Parikshit Maharaj did not kill Kali? Only gave punishment. So this was the question. So this question will be answered in the 18th chapter. Answer is given in 18th chapter. But where and when and why Kali is punishing cow and bull? That discussion is mentioned in the 2 chapters. Atavasya padamboja makarandaliham satam kimanyer asad alaper ayusho yad asadvyaya.
The devotees of the Lord are accustomed to licking up the honey available from the lotus feet of the Lord. What is the use of topics which simply waste one's valuable life?
So here the sages are further continuing. O great soul, please tell us if it concerns his devotees who lick the honey from his lotus feet. Atavasya padamboja makaranda liham satam. If the pastime of Parikshit Maharaj punishing Kali, it is concerning the devotees tasting the nectar at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Please continue to describe. Kimanner asad alaper ayusho yed asadvaya. What is the use of material talks which are a waste of life for short-lived humanity? Humanity in itself has already have less lifespan, and in that less lifespan, hearing all other material topics simply depletes on lifespan. There is no use of hearing other things. If this pastime is in relation to Krishna, then please speak. If it is not in relation to Krishna, then don't speak. We don't want to hear any more other mundane talks. We just want to hear only Krishna Katha. So in that way, they are asking. If the punishment of Kali is related to the devotees, please tell us. Otherwise, don't tell us. So like that, they are making it clear. So my dear sir, we want to hear, but please continue to speak if it is in relation to Krishna. Otherwise, you can skip through. Something like that. Shudrayusham nunam anga martyanam rutamicchatam Ihopa Bhagavan Mrityu Samitra Karmani.
O Sutta Goswami, there are those amongst men who desire freedom from death and get eternal life. They escape the slaughtering process by calling the controller of death Yamaraja.
So they say that, O Sutta, for those men who desire Krishna, Ichatam, Shudrayusham, Runam, Anga, Martyanam, Rutam Ichatam, Nunam, Ichatam. For those men who desire Krishna, what is the use of material talks, which are a waste of life for short-lived humanity? Shudrayusham, already our human lifespan is very less. And for such people, what is the use of hearing so many other mundane talks? So in that way, they are continuing the same mode. The Lord as death has been called here to this sacrifice of animals. If Sutta Goswami might say that, no, this pastime is very big. If you want me to speak, it will take a lot of time. In the meantime, somebody dies. They say that, no. We want everyone to hear Krishna Katha. So people will die only if Yamaraj is there. If Yamaraj calls, only people will die. We'll call Yamaraj here. If Yamaraj here comes here, then no one will die. So like that they say. Ritam means the true object, that is Lord Krishna. How can we hear auspicious talks about Krishna if we are perishable? So Gautam says that Krishna Katha is so long, it will take a lot of time. Then sages are having doubt. How long we can continue here? We don't know, death can come anytime. So better we call death person for here. In this place, there is animal sacrifice with death as the executioner. Death has been called for that. Then what happens? So basically, they are saying that here we are performing a fire sacrifice in which some animals are offered as a sacrificial oblation. In order to perform the duty of offering animals in sacrifice, we have called death himself. We are not doing it ourselves. We have called death, and death is the main person who will execute this activity of offering the animals in the fire sacrifice. He himself is here with us. So let us keep that hold. Let us hear Krishna Katha. When hearing Krishna Katha is over, then we continue with Yajna, then offer the animals. So till sacrificing the animal, the death will not go. He cannot leave. He will also continue to hear Krishna Katha along with us. So as long as he is here, there will be no more death in the entire world. So you please continue to speak in Krishna Katha. So something like that. They inspire Sutta Goswami to speak more and more. Na kachinmriyate tavat yavadasta ihantaka etadartam hi bhagavan ahuta paramarshibhi aho nrulake piyeta hari leelamrutam vacha.
As long as Yamaraja, who causes everyone's death, is present here, no one shall meet with death. The great sages have invited the controller of death, Yamaraja, who is the representative of the Lord. Living beings who are under his grip should take advantage by hearing the deathless nectar in the form of this narration of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord.
As long as the Lord of Death is here, no one will die. The sages have called death here so that no one dies. Therefore, men should drink the words containing sweet pastimes of the Supreme Lord. So, like that, there.
Yuvraj was there. He said they left.
Yeah. In that sense. True.
Really, I'm having this question. Thanks for this asking.
Wait. Let us go through some notes, then we'll discuss that. What you have said is also a correct point. We'll discuss that. Then what should men do? They should drink the nectar of the Lord's pastimes. Why Devatas drink nectar?
To remain eternal. No? Not eternal.
To become Amara.
Amara.
Amara means those who can live for one Manvantara period. The Devatas, generally they live for one Manvantara period. By drinking nectar, they will become, from our point of view, that is like long life. Amar. One Manvantara. So,
वापस अगर ड्रिंक करें और एक बार
मैं कितना बार भी पियो बट उतना ही है, टेंडर उतना ही है.
वापस पीना पड़ेगा और मंत्र आते हैं.
So it is like that. It's not that one drinking will make you one, not like that. But by drinking nectar, you are expected to live for one mantra. But in that one mantra, you keep drinking. It's not like that by eating one breakfast only you can sustain whole day. You need to eat some breakfast in the morning, some lunch in the afternoon, some dinner in the evening also. So by eating the food which is generally available to all of us, we are expected to live for 60 to 100 years. If we eat, we live. If we don't eat, we can die in between only. Devatas, if they don't drink nectar in between, they may stop their life in between only. So it's like their regular routine food that nectar is in that sense. But for the people in general, by drinking what we can also become Amar? Nectar of Krishna Katha. By drinking nectar of Krishna Katha, one can remain. Even though death may be there, or the assistance of the death may be there in the Yamaloka doing all the things. But those who are hearing Krishna Katha, they will not become victim of the death news. That is the understanding. In order to become freed from the death news, one need to continue to hear Krishna Katha. So some may say, what do you mean by that? Everyone we hear from Bhagavad Gita, Jatat Sahi Dhruvam Mutyor Dhruvam Janma. Okay, forget about the second line. First line is Jata Sahi Dhruvam Mutyor. Everyone is born, supposed to die. Man is mortal. So how can you say that the person who is hearing Krishna Katha is drinking nectar of Krishna Katha and will become freed from death? What do you mean by that?
Go back to what
They will not take birth again. Birth means death. If there is no rebirth, then there is no re-death. Simple, something like that. So Prabhupada writes same thing in the purport, second line. The surest remedy for avoiding death is to accustom oneself to hearing the nectarian pastimes of the Lord as they are systematically narrated in the text of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is advised herein, therefore, that any human being who desires freedom from death should take to the course of life as recommended by the rishis headed by Shaunaka. Mandasya manda prajnasya vayo mandayushaschayi nidraya hriyate naktam divacha vyartha karmabhi.
This human being with a hearty intelligence and short durations of time.
Yeah, different attributes of the Kali Yuga personality are mentioned here. The lives of those who are lazy, manda. Manda is lazy. Who are foolish, manda prajna, whose intelligence is very meager. And who are short-lived, vayo mandayusha, whose lifespan is also very small. The people of Kali Yuga endowed with all these qualities. And for such people, Chavai, even though they also can be freed from the death by taking shelter of Krishna Katha. But in addition to these traits, they also have few more traits. What are they? Nidraya yote naktam. In the naktam means night. Their night goes in sleeping. And divacha vyartha karmabhi. And the day goes in useless actions.
Bhagavad Gita similar.
Bhagavad Gita? Yeah, Nisha Sarvabhutanam Yasyam Jagat. So that is a different context. Anything other than hearing about the Lord is useless. According to the sages of Naimisharanya, Prabhupada elaborates about this particular point in the entire purport. Ayur arati vaipumsham udyam astau chayan asau. Tasyarte vahito echkeno nita uttama shloka vartaya. This shloka comes in the second canto, third chapter. There again the sages of Naimisharanya, they speak same thing. They inspire Sutta Goswami to continue discussion of Bhagavatam. They say that every rising and setting of the sun takes away one day from the human life.
Yes.
but not from those people who are engaged in tasya rite et ksheno nita uttama shloka vartaya. Not for those people who are always discussing. Varta means vartalap. What they are discussing? Uttama shloka. The activities of the Uttama shloka. The wonderful pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Those people who are discussing, they are not bereft of their lifespan. Their lifespan is not taken away.
बोधायन्ता परस्परं तेषां सतते सदानां बोधायन्ता परस्परं.
Thank you, thank you.
पुष्यन्ति च.
So that verse talks about the experience, joy, discussing Krishna Katha with each other. But here it says that for those who are engaged in discussing Krishna Katha, for them the lifespan will not be depleted. The rising and setting of the sun will not take away their lifespan. In general, for others, when the human lifespan is gone, they are not sure whether they will get again human life or not. But for devotees, even though they may go through death, they will take birth in the family of devotees only. In that way. Neha Bikramanashosi Pratyavayana Vidyate. Kalpam Piyasa Dharmasya Trayato Mahato Bhaya. So in that way. That means they will continue to practice Krishna Katha afterwards also. So these are the different queries made by sages of Naimisharanya who are eager to hear more and more Krishna Katha. So my dear sir, please speak about whatever you have spoken briefly. Elaborate if it is connected to Krishna. Because there is nothing left for us to do except hearing Krishna Katha. Even don't worry that we are going to die. We have kept death personified here only. As long as the yajna is not completed, death will not go back and he will not execute death punishment. So till then continue to speak Krishna Katha. So in that way. Suta uvacha yada parikshit kuru jangale vasat kalim pravishtam nija chakravartite nishamya vartam anatit priyam tada Sharashanam samyugas saudiradade.
Sutta Goswami said,
Sutta Goswami said, while Maharaj Parikshit was residing in the capital of the Kuru Empire, the symptoms of the age of Kali began to infiltrate within the jurisdiction of his state. When he learned about this, he did not think the matter very palatable. This did, however, give him a chance to fight. He took up his bow and arrows and prepared himself for military activities.
So in between some story is missing. The story which I mentioned some time back. Like Parikshit Maharaj after becoming king, after Pandavas went to north, he went to Dwaraka, then he went to Madura. Then he along with Arjuna took the queens to Vrindavan. That is where Uddhava informed him about the advent of Kali. So here it is indirectly mentioned. When Parikshit, expert in battle, was staying in Kurujangala, inspecting his kingdom, hearing the rather unpleasant news that Kali had entered, he took up his bow. Uddhava instructed him, go and stop Kali from doing all the nasty things. Then immediately took up his bow, began to find out where Kali is. We have to find out because he has to follow the instructions of Uddhava. He cannot say no. Because Uddhava is the closest to Lord Krishna, he cannot say no. So he had taken his bow and started going to find out Kali. So on his journey, where all he went, whom all he met, and eventually where and when and how he saw Kali. That is the subject matter, which will come in the entire chapter and next chapter.
Prabhuji, that Yudhishthira, he found that bad omens, no, Kali has entered like that.
Yes.
So that time only Kali has entered, no?
Yes.
But Parikshit, now he realizes that Kali has entered.
There is not much time gap between these two events. Yudhishthira Maharaj was realizing that Kali had manifested. He was discussing with Bhima. Arjuna came. He heard from Arjuna, maybe in the afternoon time. By the evening, he made Parikshit as the king. In the evening, they left. The next day morning, Parikshit went to Dwaraka. And next day morning, he might have gone to Madura. And next day morning, they might have gone to Vrindavan. Within 2-3 days only. It's okay. So they are happening on the fast mode. So in that way. When King Parikshit was inspecting his kingdom, protected by his troops, hearing the rather unpleasant news that Kali had entered, he took up his bow. It was somewhat pleasant also, since he had the opportunity to punish him. For a king, war is coming means they become enthusiastic. So now he is going to fight with Kali. So he became chivalrous and began to go ahead. This is the expression you used to make it okay. So basically, what is going to happen in the future? It is indicated in the very beginning only. He became eager to start. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, also first chapter, when Kauravas blew their conch, headed by Bhishma, Pandavas also blew their conch. Then Arjuna took up his bow, getting ready to fight. Then he requested Krishna, please take the chariot and stand in front of both the armies. Krishna asked, why you want to go in between? I want to see who all came to fight, who all came to side Duryodhana, the evil-minded Duryodhana, something like that. So he was also eager to fight, something like that. He also was eager to fight. Swalankritam Shamatурanga yojitam Ratam Mrugendra Dvajamashritā Purat Urto Ratasva Dvipapatti Yuktaya Swasenaya Digvijaya Nirgata.
Maharaja Parikshit
Maharaj sat on a chariot drawn by black horses. His flag was marked with the sign of a lion, being so decorated and surrounded by charioteers, cavalry, elephants, and infantry soldiers.
He left the capital to conquer in all directions.
Yeah, the description of his journey is given here. Parikshit Maharaj had gone out from his city to gather tribute with his troops along with chariots, horses, and elephants, on a chariot with a lion flag pulled by black horses and well decorated. This is the description of Parikshit Maharaj going out to find out Kali, where Kali is, to punish Kali, to fight with Kali, etc. Where all event? Bhadrashvam Ketu Malam cha Bharatam Chotaran Kurun Kim Purushadini Varshani Vijitya Jagrihe Balim.
Maharaja Parikshit then conquered all parts of the earthly planet. Bhadrashva, Ketumala, Bharata, the northern Keru, Purusha, etc., and exacted tributes from their respective rulers.
So here the description about the entire Jambudvipa, which generally we present in cosmology presentation. There, this verse I quote every time whenever I present. So there is a Jambudvipa, which is ruled by Yudhishthira Maharaj, which has got 9 islands like Bhadrashva, Ketumala, Bharata, Uttarakuru, Kimpurusha, Hiranmaya, etc. etc. Among them, one is Bharatavarsha. Within Bharatavarsha, there are 9 islands. One is Bhartakanda. That Bhartakanda is our Earth globe. Our Earth globe is very tiny portion, whose width is 1000 yojanas. Bharatavarsha width is 9000 yojanas. Entire Jambudvipa it is 1 lakh yojanas. It's like big area. In that, a small portion, 1000 our Earth globe, 1 lakh is the entire Jambudvipa, almost 1:100 times, something like that. So Parikshit Maharaj, who was ruling from Hastinapur, traveled all the way up to Uttarakuru Varsha, the other side of the entire Jambudvipa. He kind of established his sovereignty over the entire Jambudvipa. He wanted to see Kali, where the Kali is. He was traveling everywhere to find out Kali. He traveled everywhere, but he could not find Kali. If somebody opposes you, you will take time. If nobody opposes you, you can go fast. No?
This is a different planet.
Huh? Different?
Different planet. Bharata concept the Bharat was so they is also only one
Yes.
How much time would take to cover all the distance and find the
Don't apply your limitations on him. Parikshit Maharaj had a wonderful chariot which can fly in the air. It can go at whatever fast you want. He wanted to. He don't have to travel.
Kilometers at a stretch. He can't walk 1 kilometer also. Same way.
Not like that. He can disappear. He can appear there and do the needful and again appear, disappear, then appear there somewhere. He just want to see Kali, for which he is traveling from place to place. He just going to the places where the leaders are there. Wherever he went, everyone said, "Your grandfather is working. Now you are our king." Since Raju sacrificed, the entire Jambudipa is under the rule of Yudhishthira Maharaj. Everyone very nicely accepted Yudhishthira as their king. They were all very nicely subordinate to Yudhishthira Maharaj. They were happy to accept Yudhishthira Maharaj and his grandson Parikshit Maharaj the king. No one, there is no opposition only for him. So it won't take much time to travel for him to all the places. He went here, met with them, nice pleasantries, okay. He went to the next place, nice pleasantries, okay, next place. Not like he is traveling on a fuel-driven vehicle, which will take a lot of time.
But he was ruling on this planet Earth.
He was ruling the entire Jambudipa. He was the king of the entire Jambudipa.
Yeah, but he was stationed here.
Capital is in Hastinapur.
This planet Earth.
In Bharatakanda. This is one of the points in our cosmology presentation. Wait. If from the very beginning we will say that. If somebody says Earth is a planet, it is as offensive as calling Krishna as a human being. It is as offensive as calling Krishna as a human being. Earth is not a planet. Have you been to any Lord Shiva temple? If not, go today evening. His home is somewhere different, not here. Any traditional Lord Shiva temple you go, in one corner there will be Navagrahas. What is the translation of Graha? In your favorite English? Planet.
No.
So among the Navagrahas, is there Earth?
No.
I'm asking you.
No.
Then how can you call Earth as a planet? Only those 9 things should be called as planet. Nothing else other than them. Okay.
What is that? Earth.
Huh?
It's Earth.
Earth is part of Bhuloka. Bhuloka. It should not be called as Graha or planet.
It's a different identity.
Loka, it is abode where people stay. Loka means जहाँ पे लोग रहते हैं, यहाँ पे sunlight है, यहाँ पे लोग रहते हैं. So that is called as Loka. Huh?
Sanskrit as we say Mrityu Loka. Mrityu Loka.
Yeah, Marte Loka we can say. Bhuloka, to be more precise, Bhuloka you can say. Within Bhuloka we have the Bhumandala, within Bhumandala we have Jambudipa, within Jambudipa we have Bharatavarsha, within Bharatavarsha we have Bharatakanda. Our Ritu globe is actually Bharatakanda. No, we can call simply Earth also, no problem. But try to avoid calling it as Earth planet. Huh? Yeah, Bharatakanda is also a division. Kanda means a division. Division. Like we have Ramayana, Balakanda, Ayodhya Kanda means a division. The entire Ramayana is divided into 7 parts. Mahabharata divided into 18 Parvas. Bhagavatam divided into Skandas. Skanda or Parva or Kanda. There are like divisions. Bharatakanda is one of the 9 divisions of Bharatavarsha. आपको कॉस्मोलॉजी प्रेजेंटेशन सुनना पड़ेगा एक बार, नहीं तो बुक लेके पढ़ो अच्छे से. ऐसा प्रश्न पूछो मत. In the entire universe, everywhere different variety of living entities are residing. For example, tell one planet name. What is your favorite planet? Huh? So Surya Loka में भगवान सूर्य देव रहते हैं. Like that, in every planet, some devatas are residing. In moon, Chandra is there, Soma is there. In Mars, Kartikeya is there. Kartikeya, you know? Who is Kartikeya?
Ganesh brother.
The younger brother of Ganeshji, son of Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati. In Venus, Shukracharya personally staying there. In Jupiter, Bruhaspati is staying. In Saturn, Shani is staying. Who is Shani? Son of Sun God. In Mercury, Buddha is staying. Who is Buddha? Okay, Bruhaspati ho gaya. Buddha is son of Moon God. Shani is the son of Sun God. Buddha is son of Moon God. All covered. And Rahu. In Rahu planet, Rahu is staying. In Ketu planet, Ketu is staying. Who is Ketu and Rahu?
To Asuras, they drank that
Ah.
nectar and cut themselves.
यादेना बस everywhere people they are leaders. Leader is there matlab subjects also will be there. The leader is there matlab his wife is there, servants will be there, bungalow will be there, assistants will be there, brahmanas will be there, and everyone will be there. It's like entire kingdom. So, much bigger than our place. Huh? Human beings. हाँ अभी किंग नहीं कलयुग में किंग नहीं रहेगा बट अभी रूलर है ना whoever is ruling they are the rulers हाँ Hare Krishna please talk to me.
Yes,
I am here. So Manu is responsible for entire Manvantara. Manu will rule for some time. He will give the responsibility to his son. He will rule for some time. He will give the responsibility to his son, like that. The Devatas can live for the entire Manvantara, rule for the entire Manvantara. But the Manu cannot rule for the entire Manvantara. He will rule, after him his children will rule. Grandchildren, like one after the other, they will continue to rule for the duration of one Manvantara period. Their own lineage. For the 7th Manvantara, we have two personalities ruling the entire Bhumandala. One lineage coming from Surya Vamsha, other lineage coming from Chandra Vamsha. At least in that during the time of Mahabharata, we have Mahabharata Pandavas are all Chandra Vamsha. And from Surya Vamsha also there are some kings who also participate in the Mahabharata battle. There are some kings from Mithila, from Surya Vamsha. Some kings from Surya Vamsha also there. But two kings, one from Chandra Vamsha, one from Surya Vamsha, currently they are there in the greater Himalayas performing tapasya. Because Kali Yuga is not meant for monarchy, they kind of withdrawn from themselves. They are performing tapasya. Till the time Kalki appears, they continue to perform tapasya. When Kalki appears, they come out of the meditation. With the blessings of Kalki, they will restart monarchy in the Satya Yuga. So King Sutapa from Chandra Vamsha, King Maru from Surya Vamsha. Both of them are still there. They will continue the ruling in the next Satya Yuga. But for the rest of the Kali Yuga, communism, democracy, this, that, so many things come and go, like that. So it is like that. 1 o'clock. We'll stop here, but just we'll discuss it. Conquering Bhadrashva, Ketumala, Bharata, and northern Kuru provinces and other countries such as Kimpurusha, he received taxes. Parikshit Maharaj received taxes from them. Basically, when somebody becomes king, they need to go establishing their monarchy over everyone. So that he did. And after visiting entire Jambudvipa, he could not find Kali. Eventually comes back to again Bharatavakanda. But in between, wherever he went, he heard the glorification of Pandavas, the glorification of Lord Krishna. That is mentioned in the next 4-5 verses. Then, when he comes back to Bharatavakanda, there in Kurukshetra he sees Kali punishing cow and bull. That will give some more later. That will continue next week. Hare Krishna, we'll stop here.
You didn't wait till the Maharaja lecture ended. Huh? Huh?
Yes, we waited.
No, waited, no. Then you took breakfast.
Krishna Prabhu.